stories don't define you. How you tell them will. Hi, I'm Sarah Elkins, your host and chief story maker of Elkins Consulting. We share stories for many reasons, to persuade, to entertain, to connect. What we sometimes forget is the impact of the stories we tell ourselves. Whether you're sharing personal stories or business stories, how you share them makes a difference in how you remember them and in how you're perceived by the people you're interacting with. When you figure out which stories to share, difficult bosses and coworkers, successes, failures, the next step is to develop how you share them. Have you figured out your patterns, your roles in those successes, the discomfort and your challenges? In this series, you'll hear stories that will resonate with you. You'll nod your head in understanding, and then we'll dig into the lessons from each of those. How many times have you been sharing a story only to be interrupted by a person eager to share his own? When I'm working with clients on communication skills, I remind them to listen for understanding, not to respond. But during this podcast, I'm asking you to listen and consider your own related stories, to listen and consider which stories in your life might have impacted you in a similar way.
My dream is to sew professionally, like my own business. I have this design that I created, and it's a pattern that can be easily replicated and scaled to different sizes and materials. It's a cool design. I've never seen anything quite like it. And when I've given it as a gift to people, it's so functional. Every person has loved it and wanted more. They wanted to buy them from me. Oh, that's awesome, Nancy. What are you going to do? What's your next step? What do you mean? I mean, what are you doing to build this business? You want to make this your thing, right? So evenings, weekends, when you get breaks, what are you doing? Oh, well, by the time I get home from work, I'm emotionally and intellectually spent. I don't have the energy or creativity to sew. My mom's having some health problems. I'm helping out with grandkids. I just don't have time to work on my own stuff. Well, do you have space set up so that if you do happen to have a little time, you can jump right into creative mode and lay out your next project or start sewing? Well, no. My sewing room is filled with boxes and stuff from when I moved in last year. I just haven't had time. Our conversation continued along those lines, an excuse for every suggestion I made. Start by setting aside 15 minutes a day after you get home from work and just put your sewing room in order. Schedule 15 minutes 3 times each week to organize fabrics, plan projects, or think about setting a small goal, like sewing 3 of that design, take pictures, and start a portfolio. Just something. Get started. She had a reason she couldn't do those things for every suggestion. So I asked her, will we have this same conversation a year from now? 5 years from now? Nancy, are you going to regret not doing something to change this? If you don't take action right now, you're not going to see any changes. Guaranteed. And you're obviously unhappy, but you're not willing to change anything. So you're just going to continue to be unhappy and dissatisfied. Now, that may be okay with you right now, but how do you think that's impacting your relationships with your kids, your grandkids, your coworkers? Do you think they don't know? Do you think you're hiding your unhappiness somehow? She walked away from me, and I felt like I had failed her. She walked away with her shoulders slumped, deflated, and my heart broke. I thought I had gone too far, probably hurt her feelings, and maybe even made things worse for her. So I gave it a few hours and then sent her a text message saying, "Hey, I hope I didn't go too far. It just makes me sad to see you so unhappy. Because you're so generous and compassionate, you deserve happiness." She didn't respond to my message. And when we saw each other over the next few months at work, she'd smile at me. We would exchange small talk, but I could tell she was uncomfortable. And a few months after that, I gave my notice, said goodbyes, and moved on to another career, following my dream. It was about a year after that, I was in that building again and ran into her. Her face glowed as she beelined toward me and gave me a huge hug. And I hadn't seen her like that ever. So I asked what was going on. Well, I've been thinking about calling you, Sarah, but I don't know, it didn't feel right. Couldn't really find the right time. I didn't know how to tell you. I've been sewing again. And I even sold a few of my designs. My ideas are flowing and I'm feeling creative again. It feels so good. Really? That's wonderful. What changed? What motivated you to start doing this again? Well, remember when you asked me if I would regret not doing something about this dream a year from now? You asked if we were going to continue to have this same conversation year after year. Well, it took me a few weeks, well, to be honest, maybe a couple months to recover from that conversation. I felt like a total loser. But then I remembered one of your suggestions to schedule small chunks of time. Do you remember? You said small 15-minute intervals to make physical, comfortable space for my sewing, to organize my sewing room, make it more inviting. And that's what I did. And it took months. But then, about a week after I finished, I walked into that room and was inspired to start a project. As a matter of fact, right then, I planned to spend 15 minutes on it, but walked out over an hour later with a completed project in my hands, and it felt amazing. It was like a veil had lifted, my creativity returned. Wow. Gosh, I'm so happy to hear that. Has anything changed at work? Well, yeah, that's the thing. I'm finding my job a little more satisfying. Nothing here has changed. I still deal with the obnoxious attitude from you know who and continue to have more work dumped on me than I can handle. But I look at it differently now. I'm making time for me and I'm exploring that creative side, and it just feels different now. We hugged goodbye, promised to keep in touch, and I left the building walking on air. We can talk about things we want to do, dreams we have, ideas we want to initiate and implement. But until we take a step, that's all those things will ever be, dreams and ideas. The only way we see change in our lives is if we initiate it or something happens to us. And I would much rather be the one to initiate it most of the time. What about you? So I have 4 simple strategies to begin to take action. First, find your tribe. Surround yourself with people who support and encourage you. Find a group of friends and peers that are doing the things you want to be doing. People who will give you the hard truth about your dream and offer to help find solutions to obstacles. You may not find those people face to face. You may be on a social media platform to find those people, but find those people. You are unlikely to find support in people who have never done what you want to do or who live in that low risk, low reward mentality. People who live and make fear-based decisions. Second, schedule baby steps. Use the calendar on your iPhone, your computer, or even a desk calendar, something on your refrigerator, to schedule short appointments for yourself. Maybe 15 minutes to work on your dream in some way, 2 or 3 times a week. If you spend 15 minutes a few times each week being outcome-oriented toward your goals, you'll see major changes in all aspects of your life. What do I mean by outcome-oriented? Well, think about something you can complete in that time, like a blog post, or organizing a pile of papers, or scheduling calls and coffee dates with people who can help you and who you feel like you can help. Third, say yes. I just finished the book by Shonda Rhimes, The Year of Yes, and it reminded me of the importance of this aspect of reaching your goals and changing your life. When opportunities present themselves, show up. Step out of your comfort zone. Choose to do something that you normally wouldn't do. And fourth, change your environment. Periodically changing your environment keeps your brain limber, more aware, and creative. That means weekend road trips, walks, taking different routes to work, spending time in nature, traveling, and even exploring alternative hobbies. If you're tired of the same conversation year after year and realize you will most definitely regret not doing something, not taking action, do something about it today. So when I talk about finding your tribe and changing your environment, I'm talking about leaving your comfort zone and doing something that might surprise you. Join me and an extraordinary group of professionals at the 2020 4th Annual No Longer Virtual Conference on March 12th and 13th in Chicago. When I say find your tribe, this is what I'm talking about. The common characteristics of people who attend are curiosity, compassion, and an entrepreneurial mindset. The agenda is full of relevant, engaging sessions, and you'll be surrounded by some of the most wicked smart, generous, creative, and supportive professionals around. It's limited to 50 people, so you'll have the opportunity to truly connect and build strong relationships. And the best part, you'll avoid what I call the after-conference hangover of motivation by remaining in close contact with those people that you meet at the event to keep you inspired and motivated. Early registration has ended, but if you email me, Sarah Elkins at elkinsconsulting.com, I'll send you a discount code to receive that early registration price. There are 13 spots left as of January 12th. I sincerely hope to see you at NLV Chicago, investing in yourself, taking the steps necessary to take action toward your dreams, and building and nurturing your network that can help you get there.
Thank you for listening to Your Stories Don't Define You, How You Share Them Will. Please visit my website for more podcast episodes, blog posts, and information about how I can help you develop and share your stories at elkinsconsulting.com.
Now listen to me, honey, while I say, how could you tell me that you're going away? Don't say